friends, welcome to Geography MCQ question paper discussion. So again we will be discussing the physical world and Indian geography in these episodes. So these questions will be based on the NCERT and even some applied questions. So this is the third episode. Myself Tharun Kumar, author Atlas Geography through Maps. Let's get to the question. The first 51 question. Which of the following dwarf planets is also have the status of an asteroid? We have option 1 Haumea, 2 Eris, 3 Ceres and 4th one Pluto. Let's see the discussion. See, in our solar system we have 8 planets. So before that we had 9 planets. So Pluto is now deleted from the status of a planet and now it is categorized under the dwarf planet. Okay. So including Pluto we have a 5 dwarf planets. So make Haumea, Ceres, Eris and Pluto. So out of this, Ceres is the only dwarf planet which is lying in the asteroid belt. That's why it is also called as the asteroid and a dwarf planet. In fact, Ceres is the one of the our biggest asteroid in the asteroid belt. So here we have the option Haumea, Eris, Ceres and Pluto. So we know that Ceres is the only one. So option A, only 3 is the correct one, which is the Ceres dwarf planet is also having the status of an asteroid. Next, what is our reasons for removing the Pluto from the status of a planet? Again, legacy of the previous question. We have a option 1, it's too small in size. Second, its gravitational force is low. It has not thrown out of the objects of the neighborhood in its path. Next, 4th one, its path around the sun is not in order. Okay, let's see the. So before 2004 we have 9 planets. So in that year, International Astronomical Union, they gave a criteria to call or to consider any celestial object as a planet. So in that they have mentioned that any celestial body, it should be having rotation in its own axis and revolution around the sun. First condition says that any celestial body having the rotation on its own axis and revolution around the sun. Second one, it should be larger in size and round in shape. Larger in size and round in shape, so that it assumes the hydrostatic equilibrium. Okay. Next, third condition, it should be rotating independently. It should be rotating independently around the sun in its own orbit. That means it should have cleared its orbital debris. It should not be revolving along with its neighboring objects. So if that rule is not satisfied, then only it will be called as a dwarf planet. So overall we can say any celestial bodies which satisfies the only first rule, that is rotating on its own axis and revolution around the sun, so then they will be called as the small solar system bodies. If they satisfy the first two conditions, then they will be called as the dwarf planets. Okay, so Pluto did not satisfy the third rule. That means it has not cleared its neighborhood objects in its path. That's why it is removed from the status of the planet and now it is placed in the dwarf planet. So here we know the options. It's too small in size. No, that is not a criteria. Its gravitational force is low. No, it is also having the good amount of gravity and even it is also having some minor satellites. Next, it has not thrown out the objects of the neighborhood in its path. Okay, this is the correct explanation. Even its path around the sun is not in order. No, this statement is also wrong. So Pluto is also having the elliptical orbit around the sun. Okay, so out of 4 options, only 3 is the correct one. Again we have a options A 1, 2 and 4, B 3 only, C 2 and 4 and all of the above. So we know only third statement is correct. That's why option B is correct. Next question, match the following list A with the list B. Okay, so in list A we have the planets and in the list B their nicknames. Okay, so option A Mercury, B Mars, C Jupiter and D Venus. So in this category we have a king of gods, goddess of beauty, goddess of wars and goddess of commerce. Let's see the explanation. First of all, the credit of studying the geography or even about the planets, it was about the majorly Greek peoples. They studied the geography in brief. Even they also named these planets according to their Greek mythology. So in that case they call the Mercury as the god of commerce and even god of skill. Next, Venus is called as the god of beauty. Why it is called as god of beauty? because Venus is having the highest surface temperature of 400 degrees Celsius. That's why this is the brightest planet in the solar system. Okay, that's why it is called as the hottest and the brightest planet. So god of beauty. Next, again we know that Earth is called as the blue planet or living planet because of the water in it. Even Mars is called as the god of war. Okay, according to Greek mythology, peoples of the Greek, they call it as the Mars as the god of war. Next, Jupiter is called as the king of gods because of its giant structure. Saturn is called as the god of agriculture, and Uranus is called as the god of sea, and Neptune is called as the god of sky. Okay, this all according to the Greek mythology. Let's see the question back. So we know that Mercury planet, it is the smallest planet and closest to the sun, so it is called as the goddess of commerce. So Mars, it is called as the god of war, so it is B. Next, Jupiter is called as the king of gods because of its giant size. Next, Venus is called as the goddess of beauty. Okay, so option A 4, Mars is called as the B3, C 1 and 2 Venus. So 4A, 3B, 2D and 1C. So option A is the correct one. Okay, so option A is the correct one. Next question, which of the following planet is called as a failed star? Okay, very interesting question. So option A Mars, B Jupiter, C Venus and D Uranus. Let's see the explanation. So this is the Jupiter planet. So its chemical composition is mainly hydrogen, helium, methane and ammonia. Okay, methane and ammonia. Even the stars also having the good amount of hydrogen and helium. Stars are self-illuminating objects. So because their surface temperature is almost crore together, even our sun temperature at the core is 1.5 crore degrees Celsius. So because of the excess temperature, two molecules of hydrogen, they are uniting and turning into helium. That's why they are called as the stars. Even the Jupiter planet is also having the good amount of hydrogen and helium, but its internal temperature is not sufficient to support the thermonuclear fusion reaction. That's why though Jupiter was supposed to turn as a star, but it is failed star because of the lack of internal temperature. Sufficient internal temperature is not there. That's why its hydrogen is, because of the excess pressure, it has turned into a liquid hydrogen. So it is having the hydrogen C in its core. Okay. So here we have the options: A Mars, B Jupiter, C Venus and D Uranus. So we know correct option is Jupiter is called as the failed star. Next question, 55. A satellite with an Earth-like atmosphere is. That means which of the following satellites are having the Earth-like atmosphere? So we have a option A Ganymede, B Moon, C Titan and D Miranda. Okay, let's see. See, this is the Saturn planet. Okay, so this is the satellite called Titan, belonging to Saturn. Again, it is having the atmosphere layer-like structure. Atmosphere with a layer-like structure it is having in the Titan. Not necessarily it is having the carbon dioxide or oxygen. It is not in that case. So the atmosphere of the Titan, it is having the layer-like structures. Okay, so that's why it is called as it is the only satellite in the solar system to have this kind of structures. Okay, so within our atmosphere we know we have a troposphere, we have a stratosphere, we have a mesosphere, we have a thermosphere and we have a exosphere. So these are layer-like structures. This type of layer-like structures are also found in the Titan satellite. So it is belonging to Saturn. Okay. So here we have the option Ganymede, Moon, Titan and Miranda. We know correct option is C Titan. Okay. So Ganymede, we know that this satellite is belonging to the Jupiter and this is the biggest satellite in the solar system, and Moon is the only natural satellite of the Earth. The official satellite of the official name of our Moon is Luna. Okay. So Miranda is a satellite belonging to again Uranus. Next question. Which of the following sentences related to meteors are incorrect? Okay, not the correct statement, it is incorrect statement. So first statement says these are made up of the rocks, metals and dust particles. Second, when they explode in the Earth's atmosphere, they are called as the meteors or the shooting stars. Next, when they fall on the surface of the Earth, they are called as the meteorites. Next, fourth one, lunar lake has been formed in the Madhya Pradesh due to meteor shower. Okay. See, we have a solar planets like Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. We have a next Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. So these asteroids are nothing but the broken debris or the remnants which are left out after the formation of these inner planets. So that's why these are called as the terrestrial planets, and their debris are nothing but the rocks, metals, and dust particles. So where these meteors get originated? So they originate from the asteroid belt only. So when these asteroids, they are revolving around the sun, they also collide with each other, and some broken rocky debris get separate from this asteroid belt. When it gets separate from the asteroid belt, we call them as the meteorite. Meteorite. That means when they are revolving in the inner planet zone, we call them as the meteorite. So again, there are chances they may fall on the inner planets. It may be on the Earth, it may be on the Venus, it may be on the Mars. So if they enter the Earth's atmosphere, okay, within the atmosphere we know mesosphere is the very coldest zone. Its temperature is almost minus 100 degrees Celsius. So because of the very low temperature and highest pressure, these meteors may get burned. So during this burning, we call them as the meteor shower or even shooting star. So even after burning, if its remnants falls on the Earth, we call them as the meteorite. Okay, meteorite. So same object, based on its location, we call with the three distinct words. So the asteroids get separated from the asteroid belt, we call them as the meteorite. If they enter the Earth's atmosphere, if they get burned, we call them as the meteor or shooting star. Even after burning, if any remnant falls on the Earth, we call them as the meteorite. Ride or right. Clear? No. So once these meteors fall on the Earth, they may create a trench-like structures. If it gets filled with the water, we call them as the meteor lakes. Okay. Let's see the discussion. So the question is asking incorrect statement. We know these are made up of the rocks, metals, and dust particles. This is correct. When they explode in the Earth's atmosphere, they are called as the meteors or the shooting stars. This is also correct. When they fall on the surface of the Earth, they are called as the meteorite. Correct. So Lonar Lake has been formed in the Madhya Pradesh. No, this is found in the Maharashtra. Okay, Lonar Lake is found in the Maharashtra due to meteor shower. Again, it is example for the saltwater lake. It is also example for the Ramsar site. We have a 75 Ramsar sites in India. So out of 75, this Lonar Lake is also one. So all the three statements are correct. Only fourth one is wrong. Okay. So that means A 1 and 3, B 2 and 4, C 4 only, D all of the above. So we know only C statement is. That means only fourth option is incorrect. Next question. Which of the following objects are called as the dirty snowballs? Okay, dirty snowballs. Option A, Uranus and Neptune. B, Kuiper objects and the comets. C, asteroids and the meteors. And D, none of the above. Let's see the explanation. Again, we know that after the asteroid belts, we have a Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. So after these four planets, outer planets, we have the Kuiper belt objects. Okay. So again, we know that these outer four planets are made up of the majority hydrogen, helium, methane, and ammonia. Even some of the dust particles also found. So as these are a bit far away from the sun, the temperature is also very low here. So even Uranus and Neptune planets are completely frozen. So we call them as the frozen planets, and Jupiter and Saturn are called as the gaseous planets. Okay. So these Kuiper belt objects are also a bit far away from the sun. That's why here the temperature is low. These dust particles are completely frozen. So that's why we call them as the dirty snowballs. So in that case, Kuiper belt objects are also called as the dirty snowballs. Just like the meteors originate from the asteroid belt, the comets originate from this Kuiper belt objects. Okay. So again, these are the dirty snowballs. So once they are facing towards the sun, because of the increase in temperature, these dirty snowballs or the comets, the gaseous portion start to evaporate. Okay. And extends like a tail. The hard structure will be facing towards the sun, which will be called as the head. That means comets will be having the head and tail like structure. Okay. So these are the dirty snowballs, nothing but the Kuiper belt objects. So come back to the question. So we know option A, Uranus, B, Kuiper objects and the comets, asteroids and the meteors. So we know correct option is Kuiper objects and the comets are called as the dirt is no balls. Next question, which of the following planet has the highest density? Okay, we know density, it is based on the mass by volume. Okay, mass by volume. So option A, Jupiter, B, Venus, C, Saturn, and D, Earth. Let's see. Again, out of the 8 planets in the solar system, Earth is the only one which is having the good amount of water in liquid format. So again, 71% of the Earth is made up of the water. So because of the excess water, Earth is also called as the blue planet, even the densest planet in the solar system. Densest planet in the solar system. See now, Earth is the correct option, highest density. Again, least density is observed in the Saturn planet. Even it can float on water, such a low density. It can float on water, such a low density is observed in the Saturn. Okay. Next question, which of the following sentences is correct regarding the planet Venus? Okay. So option, first one statement says it completes first 1 year and then 1 day. Next, the direction of the rotation is opposite to that of the other planets. Next, it is the closest planet to Earth after Mars. Next, its atmosphere has very little carbon dioxide. Okay, let's see the explanation. See, out of 8 planets in the solar system, Venus ranks second with respect to position from the Sun. Okay, so after the Mercury, Venus is the very closest planet to Sun. Again, we know that all the planets rotate from west to east, except Venus. Okay, Venus rotates from east to west. Even Uranus also rotates from east to west. These two satellite planets are exception for the with respect to rotation. Okay. Again, Venus planet is called as the hottest and the brightest planet. Hottest and the brightest planet because it contains 91% or the 90% of the carbon dioxide. So because of the excess carbon dioxide, it is acting as a greenhouse gas. That means it is not allowing the Venus planet's terrestrial radiations to escape to the space. It is trapping and keeping it here only. That's why the temperature is 400 degrees Celsius. This is the hottest planet in the solar system. Okay. Again, it's a rotation speed and revolution speed. So it will take almost 225 days for one revolution and 257 days for rotation. Okay. So that means within 225 days, it will go one complete revolution around the Earth. So it will complete first 1 year. So then it will take 257 days for one rotation. That means it will complete 1 day. These 257 days are Earth days, just like we have a 24 hours 1 day. So in that case, 257 Earth days it will take Venus to complete 1 day. That means the longest day is observed on the Venus planet. So it will complete first 1 year, then it will complete the 1 day. Okay. Next, the statements here are it completes first 1 year and then completes 1 day. This statement is correct. The direction of its rotation is opposite to that of the other planets. Correct. It rotates from east to west, unlike other planets west to east. Next, it is closest planet to Earth after Mars. No, it is the very closest planet. Then comes the Mars. So this statement becomes wrong. Next, its atmosphere has very little carbon dioxide. No, it is having almost 90% of the carbon dioxide. So the question is asking correct statements. So first statement is correct, second statement is correct, third one is wrong, fourth one is also wrong. So only 1 and 2 options are correct. Next question, the latitudes are drawn at an angular distance to which of the following lines? Okay, so question is asking about the latitudes. Option A, equator, B, Greenwich longitude or meridian, next C, Earth's axis and circle of illumination. Let's see the explanation. Okay. So latitudes. Latitudes are the imaginary lines drawn connecting east to west or west to east. Okay, latitudes are the imaginary lines drawn connecting east to west, which are located at an angular distance from the equator. Okay, angular distance from the equator. So these latitudes, with these latitudes, we know this line is called as the equator. Okay, equator. Equator divides the globe into two equal halves. This is northern hemisphere and this is the southern hemisphere. Okay, so from this equatorial line, at an angular distance, we draw 90 latitudes. Okay, 90. So we will mark these points like this, then they will be drawn like this. Okay. This is how the latitudes are drawn at an angular distance from the equator. So latitudes of the northern hemisphere are marked with the N. That means northern hemisphere latitudes. Similarly, in the southern hemisphere, they are marked with the S, southern latitude. So equator divides the globe into two equal halves. So within the northern hemisphere, we have a 90 latitudes. In the southern hemisphere, we have a 90 latitudes. Including equator, there are 181 latitudes. So the distance between each latitude is almost 111 kilometers. Some books say that 110.8 kilometers. Roughly, we can say 111 kilometers. So there is a difference of 111 kilometers between each latitudes. That's why these latitudes are further divided into degrees, minutes, and seconds. Okay. So each degree latitude will be having the 111 kilometer difference. This again it is divided into minutes and seconds. Okay. So that means latitudes are drawn at an angular distance from the equator. Okay. Again we have a option A, equator, B, Greenwich longitude, C, Earth's axis, D, circle of illumination. We know correct option is equator. Okay. So Greenwich is the longitude which divides the globe into east and west hemisphere. So Earth's axis is the imaginary line around which the Earth is rotating. Circle of illumination is the word circle of illumination refers to a line which indicates the day or day and night. That means circle of illumination refers to the globe, the line which separates the day and night on the globe is called as circle of illumination. Okay. So for this question, option A is correct. Next question. Which of the following sentences related to Earth are incorrect? Okay. First statement says the speed of rotation of the Earth increases from equator towards the polar region. Okay. So Earth rotational speed increases from equator towards the polar region. This is the statement. Next, the gravitational force and the Coriolis force are lower near the equator and higher near the polar region. So here the question is discussing about two important things. First one, rotational speed of the Earth and the Coriolis force, gravitational and the Coriolis force. So let's see the explanation. So this is the shape of the Earth. This shape of the Earth is, we call it as the geoid shape. Earth is not in a perfect round shape, it is in the geoid shape. What is the geoid shape? That means due to high rotational speed near the equator, Earth is bulged here. And because of the low rotational speed near the poles, it is flat here. So this shape of the Earth we call it as the geoid one. Why the Earth has taken the geoid shape? Again we know that Earth is rotating from west to east. Its rotational speed is also not constant. Okay. So near the equator, Earth rotates at a speed of 1680 kilometers per hour. Because the land area is very high, that's why rotation speed is also very high. But this rotational speed keeps on decreasing from equator towards the poles. So near the equator, this one. So near the 45 degree latitude, this is half, almost 840 kilometer per hour is the rotational speed of the Earth in both the hemisphere. Next, as we move towards the polar areas, the rotational speed decreases because the land area is also very less. So near the 89 degree latitude, it is hardly 1 kilometer per hour rotation. And near the 90 degree polar area, it is hardly 0 kilometer per hour. That means Earth is not at all rotating near the polar areas. Okay. Next one, the gravitational force and the Coriolis force. So first we should know what is Coriolis force. Okay. The word Coriolis force refers to, again it's a imaginary force created due to Earth rotation, because of which objects in the northern hemisphere deflect towards their right side and in the southern hemisphere deflect towards the left side. So both this the Coriolis force and the gravitational force, again we know gravitational force. So again gravitational force is the natural force created based on the mass of the object. Okay. So as the Earth, due to Earth rotation, there is a bulge near the equator. That's why the polar areas are, the equatorial region is bit far away from the Earth's core region, and the polar areas are very closer to the equatorial region or the Earth's core region. So that's why the polar regions are having the highest gravity and highest Coriolis force, and even the equatorial region is having the lowest gravitational force, even the Coriolis force also very less here. The speed of rotation of the earth increases from equator towards the poles. No, it decreases. Okay, that's why first statement is wrong. Next, the gravitational force and the Coriolis force are lower near the equator and they are higher near the polar region. As we discussed, this is correct. Okay, gravitational force is very less near the equator because it is bit far away from the core region. So the polar areas are very closer. That's why, because of the nickel and iron content in the core region, the polar regions experience the very high gravity. Again, the Coriolis force is absent near the equator and it is more near the polar areas. Okay. So first statement is wrong. Second statement, gravitational force, Coriolis force are low near the equator and higher near the polar region. This statement is correct. So the question is asking which of the statements are incorrect. Okay. So only first statement is incorrect. Second statement is correct. So option A, 1 only, B, 2 only, 1 and 2 are correct, both are wrong. So only A, only one statement is incorrect. Next question. Why does the compass needle always face north? Okay, again it is a applied question. So we have a option A statement. There is more gravity at the south pole. There is a lot of gravity at the north pole. The north pole has the highest magnetic force. It gets attracted towards the magnetic force at the south pole. Okay. Let's see the explanation. We know that magnetic force, because of the nickel and iron content at the core, Earth having the magnetic field, that is also called as the magnetosphere. So when we take the compass needle, so we know like poles repel each other, and unlike poles attract each other. That means the magnetic north and the south will attract and the magnetic north and north will repel each other. So the Earth's north pole get attracted to the magnetic south pole. That means the Earth geological north pole is connected to the magnet's south pole and the Earth's geographical south pole is connected to the magnet's north pole. That's why the magnetic needle always faces towards the north. Okay, so here the correct option is it get attracted towards the magnetic force at the south pole. That's why the compass needle always faces the north, not because of the gravity, in the south pole or north pole. Okay, mainly it is a magnetic force which attracts the needle towards the north direction. Next question. Which of the following sentences are correct with respect to latitudes? Okay, so again question related to latitudes. First statement says there are 180 latitudes on the earth including the equator. These are actually drawn and these are tell us exactly the place and time. Next, since they join one another at the north and south pole, distance between them is not equal. Okay, let's discuss again the latitudes. As we discussed, latitudes are the imaginary lines. Okay, latitudes are the imaginary lines. These are not actually found on the earth. Just for our study purpose, we have drawn these lines. See, these latitudes are the parallel lines. What are parallel lines? They never meet each other. Okay, so parallel lines, they never meet each other. So these latitudes are the horizontal lines connecting east to west. Okay, so the distance between them is always constant, that is 111 kilometer. Okay? So they ever meet in the polar, that is nothing but the longitudes will meet, no, but not the latitudes. Let's get back the question. So there are 180 latitudes on the earth including equator. No, there are 181. That means 90 in the north, 90 in the south, including equator, there are 181 latitudes. That means this statement becomes wrong. Next, these are actually drawn on the globe but tells us exactly the place and time. These are not actually drawn, these are imaginary lines. Okay, so they help us identifying the location more. The longitudes play a major role in identifying the time. Okay, so that's why this statement also becomes wrong. Next one, since they join one another at the north and south pole. No, they never meet in the north or south pole. That is the longitudes will meet but not the latitude. That's why this statement also becomes wrong. So here the question is asking which of the following sentences are correct. Okay, so none of the statements are correct. That's why D, none of the above. Clear? Next. Which of the following motions or rotation the motions is an example for the micro movement of the earth? Okay, let's see. Option A, tilt in axis, B, eccentricity, C, daily rotation, and D, annual revolution. Okay. The earth movements can be classified into two, micro movements and the macro movements. What are these micro and macro movements? So the micro movements refers to which we cannot observe. Okay, that is first one is the tilt in the axis. Okay, so we know that earth is tilted to 23.5 degree from its axis. Okay, this is the imaginary line around which earth is rotating. So it is tilted to 23.5 degree. Next, so this 23.5 degree tilt, it is also not constant. Okay, so it may be again varying plus or minus 1.5 degree Celsius. So it can go up to 25 degree or it can come back to 22 degree Celsius. Even these minor movements we cannot observe. So first one is the tilt in the axis. Second one comes the eccentricity. Okay, eccentricity. What is this eccentricity refers to? Again we know that earth is revolving around the sun in a elliptical orbit. Okay, what is this meaning of elliptical orbit? It is not perfectly round shape. Okay, sometimes the earth will be very closer to the sun, sometimes it will be a bit far away from the sun. We know that average distance between the sun and earth is 150 million kilometers. Again, this is not constant. We take this average because it can come back to 147 million kilometers, or it can go up to as long as 152 million kilometers. So even these minor variations in the distance of the sun and earth, it is also not observable for us. That's why these are called as the micro movements. When we discuss about the macro movements, next, what are macro movements? Macro movements refers to mainly we can feel or observe rotation and revolution. Okay, so because of the rotation we are observing a good number of changes, day and night changes, timings changes, sunrise and sunset we can see. So all these are because of the rotation only. Again, revolution, because of the revolution we can see the eclipses, even the seasonal variation, even the tides on the full moon and new moon day. So these are called as the macro movements. Okay, so come back to the question. So which are example for the micro movements of the earth? Okay, so we know tilt in the axis, it is not observable for us. Next, eccentricity is also not observable for us. So that's why even daily rotation and annual rotation we can feel them. So only A and B. Okay, that means option we can mark them as A and B. Okay, so option A is correct. Next, which of the following changes can be observed due to daily movement or rotation of the earth? Okay, so as we discussed now only. So these are the changes. First one, let's see, tides in the oceans. Next, two, time difference. Third one, Coriolis force. Fourth one, day and night. Fifth one, change in the direction of the winds and ocean currents. And finally the directions. Okay, let's see what are the changes can be observed. We know earth is rotation. It will take almost 24 hours roughly. Okay, so we call this as the solar day. So because of the earth rotation, again, if you are feeling that sun rises in the east and sets in the west, sunrise and sunset we can see. Next one, time difference. We know for every 15 longitudes 1 hour time keeps on increasing, so time difference also can be seen. Again, we know that moon is having the gravitational influence on the earth. That's why we have a diurnal tides and semi-diurnal tides. So these are also possible. Even the local winds are also created mainly because of the temperature and pressure difference on the earth. Okay, so all these observations can be made. First one, tides in the oceans. These are correct. Again, time difference for every 15 longitudes we have a 1 degree difference. Next, again, as we discussed, Coriolis force. Coriolis force is the imaginary force mainly created due to earth rotation, because of which objects in the northern hemisphere deflect towards the right side and in the southern hemisphere deflect towards the left side. This is also created due to earth rotation. Next, again, day and nights are changing. Next, change in the direction of the winds and the ocean currents. Certainly, when the earth rotates from west to east, the ocean water moves from the east to west. Next, again, the directions. Based on the sunrise and sunset, we can say east and west directions. So all these changes can be observed due to earth rotation. See all of the above. Next question, which of the following sentences are incorrect with respect to longitudes? Okay, next, first statement says these are parallel lines that meet east and west. Next, the distance between this is constant, that is 111 kilometer. Next, the international date line is a straight line and makes a difference in the date. Next one, the sunrise take 5 minutes to reach the one longitude to another. Next, the Greenwich prime longitude passes through London. Okay, let's see. So these are the vertical lines are called as the longitudes. Okay, so these are again imaginary lines drawn connecting north to south, which are located at an angular distance from the prime meridian. Let's see, this is the longitude. So from this longitude again 1 degree, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like this. So totally we have drawn 179 in the east, 179 in the west, and 0 degree prime meridian and international date line. So totally we have a 360 longitudes on the earth. All these longitudes are meeting near the north and south pole region. That's why their distance also keeps on decreasing from equator towards the pole. The maximum distance between the two longitudes can be seen near only equator, that is again 111 kilometer. The distance between two latitudes also 111 kilometer. The distance between two longitudes also maximum distance is found in the 111 kilometer, that is near the equator. Again, the prime meridian passes through London, and the international date line, which is the 180 degree international line, exactly lying opposite to the prime meridian. This is not a straight line. Unlike all other longitudes, this international date line it passes through the Pacific Ocean. Again, here we have the good number of volcanic islands. Okay, so when this international line passes through any single country, it will again create a 2 days and dates differences. That's why it is drawn bit in a zigzag direction, so that it will not pass through any particular island nation. Okay, so again let's back to the question. So here the question is asking incorrect statement. We know these longitudes are not parallel lines, but again they are drawn connecting north to south. That's why this statement is incorrect. Next one, the distance between this is not constant. Okay, so again we know that the distance keeps on decreasing from equator towards the poles. That's why this statement is also wrong. Next, the international date line is a straight line. No, this is drawn in a zigzag way. So in order to avoid it is passing through any island nation. So though it makes a difference, but it is not a straight line. So this statement is also incorrect. Next, the sunrise will take 5 minutes to reach the one longitude to another. No. Okay, so as the earth rotates from east to west to east, the sunrise appear to be rising in the east and setting in the west. The sunrise will take maximum 4 minutes to cross each longitude. So to cross the 15 longitudes, it will take 60 minutes. Okay, so but not the 5 minutes. So this statement also becomes wrong. Next one, the prime meridian which longitude passes through the London. So only this statement is correct. So it is asking only incorrect statement. So except 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. So D option is correct. So all the 4 are correct except 5. So all the statements are incorrect except 5. Next question. The earth has an elliptical path around the sun and its total length. Okay, so option A 927 million kilometer, B 567 million kilometer, C 347 million kilometer, and D 443 million kilometers. Let's see the explanation. Again we know that earth is moving around the sun in an elliptical orbit. The word elliptical refers to not in a perfect shape, perfect round shape. Again we know that earth is the average distance between the sun and earth is 150 million kilometer. Again it can come back to 147 million kilometer, or it can go up to 152 million kilometers. So the orbital path length is 927 million kilometer. Okay, so the orbital path length is 927 million kilometer. Okay, so option A is correct. Next question, who invented the days of equinox? Okay, so option A Ptolemy, B Alexander van Humboldt, C Hipparchus, and D none. Okay, let's see the explanation. So he is the person called as Hipparchus who identified the equinox. Let's see what are equinox. So equinox are the days with having equal amount of day and night. That means out of 24 hours, 12 hours will be day conditions and 12 hours will be night length. So this equal duration of day and night length observed on the March 22nd and September 22nd. So these dates were observed by the Hipparchus. So who is Hipparchus? He is a Greek mathematician, astronomer, and a geographer. So he is considered as the one of the greatest ancient astronomical observer. Okay. So option Hipparchus is the correct one. So next question, which of the following sentences are correct? First statement says, if we cross the international date line from the eastern hemisphere to the western hemisphere, we lose a day. Okay, let's. Time and day are always ahead there as the sun rises first in the eastern hemisphere. Third statement, if we cross the 15 longitudes from a certain longitude facing north pole and move to our right, the time will go 2 hours ahead. Okay, let's see the explanation. So within the longitudes, this is the prime meridian which divides the globe into western hemisphere and eastern hemisphere, and the international date line which decides the day and date changes. Okay, so we know that earth rotates from west to east, so sun appears to be rising in the east and setting in the west. So as the eastern hemisphere, okay, eastern hemisphere receives the first sunlight, so time will be ahead in the eastern hemisphere but bit slower in the western hemisphere. Okay, so this is the eastern hemisphere, western hemisphere. See, when we cross the international date line, we know that in the eastern hemisphere time and date will be ahead. So if it is Monday in the eastern hemisphere, so in the western hemisphere it will be certainly, so eastern hemisphere Monday. In the western hemisphere again we know that date and time will be bit slower, so it will be still Sunday. Okay, so if we cross the international date line and move towards the western hemisphere, okay, after crossing the international date line and moving from east to west, so from Monday we are again going back to Sunday. So that means we gain a day because Monday we have enjoyed and again came back to Sunday. So after Sunday completion again we will get one more Monday. That means in the western hemisphere we will always gain a day. So again in the opposite situation, if we come from the western hemisphere after crossing the international date line and enter the eastern hemisphere, so here it is Sunday still, already we are coming to the Monday. That means we have to change our calendar one day ahead and we will be losing a day because still we have not completely enjoyed the Sunday. Again we are moving to the Monday. That means we will lose a day. We will lose a day once we come to the eastern hemisphere. Okay. Next, after crossing every 15 longitudes, okay, see from this meridian, if we cross the 15 longitudes, okay, we know that sunrise will take exactly 4 minutes to cross the each longitude, and for the 15 longitudes it is exactly 60 hours or 1 hour. So from this longitudes in the eastern hemisphere, or if you facing towards the north pole and moving towards the right side, for every 15 longitudes we will be gaining 1 hour. That means 1 hour keeps on increasing. That means if it is 12 noon in the prime meridian, in the 15 longitudes it will be 1 p.m. in the 30 longitudes it will be 2 p.m. and 45 it will be 3 p.m. This keeps on increasing for every 15 longitudes, 1 hour increases. Okay, let's see the explanation. So if you cross the international date line from the eastern hemisphere and to the western hemisphere, so we lose a day. No, we don't lose a day, we will gain a day. After crossing the international date line, if we move towards the western hemisphere, that means east to western hemisphere, we will gain a day because we will get one more day back. So that's why this statement becomes wrong. Next, time and day are always ahead in the there as the sun rises in the eastern hemisphere. Certainly this is correct. If it is in the western hemisphere, if it is still Monday, in the eastern hemisphere it will be already Tuesday. Okay, so that's why time and days will be ahead in the eastern hemisphere. This statement is correct. If we cross the 15 longitudes from the certain longitude facing north pole and as we move to our right side, we will only 1 hour will be increasing but not the 2 hours. That's why third statement also becomes wrong. Okay, so here the question is asking which of the statements are correct. Okay, so option A 2 only, B 1 and 3, C all are correct, and D 1 only. We know first statement is also incorrect, second statement is correct, so third one wrong. So only 2, only second statement is correct. Okay, so only second statement is correct. Next question, on which of the following days the sun rays are vertically on the equator? Okay, so option 1 March 21st, 2 June 21st, 3 September 21st, and fourth one December 21st. Let's see. See, this is the Earth revolution around the sun. Again, we have a different latitudes, Tropic of Cancer in the north, Tropic of Capricorn in the south. When the sunrise fall exactly on the equator, we call them as the equinox, as we discussed. So that will be on the March 21st and the September 21st. Okay. So on June 21st, we call it as the summer solstice because the sunrise will be falling on the Tropic of Cancer, and in the winter solstice, the sunrise will be falling on the Tropic of Capricorn. Okay. So here the question is asking which of the following days the sunrise are falling vertically on the equator. We know it is only on March 21st and even on the September 21st. So these two we call it as the equinoxes. Word equinox refers to equal amount of day and night length on the globe. So March 21st is called as the spring equinox. Spring equinox in the northern hemisphere, and September 21st is called as the autumnal equinox. Okay. So option C, 1 and 3 is the correct one. Okay, March 21st and September 21st sunrise fall vertically on the equator. So C is the correct one. Next question. What is the geographical significance of the Yugadi festival? Okay, so again, Yugadi festival, it is mainly observed in the South India. Again, it is a beginning of the new year for the Hindu peoples. So first statement says it is a harvest festival for the Indians. B, sun enters the Capricorn zodiac. And C, after March 22nd, Uttarayana begins, and from there begins the new year from the first new moon. And D, all of the above. Let's see the explanation. Okay. Second, as a part of the Earth revolution for the Hindu peoples, according to Hindu calendar, March 21st. So here in the March 21st, sunrise will be falling vertically on the equator. Sunrise will be falling on the vertical equator. Again, from here onwards, from March 21st onwards, exactly on 3 months. So that means on the June 21st, sunrise will be vertically on the Tropic of Cancer. So next, after June 21st, again it will come back to original location on the equator on September 22nd. So this is a part of the Uttarayana. That means sunrise will be falling in the northern hemisphere. Okay. See, from this March 22nd, the beginning of the new moon, they will consider the beginning of the new year. Okay. The word Yugadi, it is made up of the two words. Yuga refers to year and Adi refers to beginning. That means Yugadi refers to beginning of the new year, that is commencing from the first new moon from the March 22nd. So they will take and count for the beginning of the new year. Let's see the explanation. So it is a harvest festival for the Indians. No, harvest festival is not related to Yugadi festival. Next, sun enters the Capricorn zodiac. So that is celebrated as the Sankranti. So on Sankranti, sun will enter the Capricorn zodiac. So this statement is also wrong. Next, after March 22nd, the sun's Uttarayana begins, and from there begins the new year from the first new moon. That's why it is called as the Chandramana Yugadi. Chandra refers to moon, Mana refers to base unit. That means the first new moon is considered as the beginning of the new year for the Hindu peoples. That is called as the Yugadi festival. Okay. So option C is the correct one. Next question. Which of the following sentences is incorrect? Okay. When the first statement says, when the distance between the earth and the sun is large, it is called as the aphelion of the sun, which occurs on January 3rd. Next statement, when the distance between the earth and the sun is less, it is called as the perihelion of the sun, which occurs on 4th July every year. Okay, let's see what is this. Again, we know that earth is revolving around the sun in a elliptical orbit. That means the distance between the sun and earth is not constant. We know the average distance is 150 million kilometers. It is also called as the 1 astronomical unit. Okay. Next, when the earth is very bit far away from the sun, that means the distance between the sun and earth is very far, that is 152 million kilometers, we call it as the aphelion. So aphelion appears on every July 2nd. Okay, so every July 4th. Next, the shortest distance between the sun and earth is 147 million kilometers that appears on, that is also called as the perihelion, that will be usually on January 3rd. So January 3rd is the perihelion, shortest distance between the sun and earth, and the aphelion is the largest distance between the sun and earth, that is 152 million kilometers, that appears on the July 4th. Okay. So here again, first statement says, the distance between the earth and the sun is large. It is called as aphelion, but it occurs on the July 4th. Only the dates are interchanged here. Okay. When the distance between the earth and the sun is less, it is called as perihelion, which occurs on the January 3rd, but not on the July 4th. Okay. So only the distance and the dates are interchanged, that the complete statement is correct. Okay. So which are incorrect? Both 1 and 2 are wrong statements. Okay. Next question. 82.5 degree east longitude has been chosen as the principal longitude of our country. This applies to which other country as well? That means Indian Standard Time, we have chosen the 82.5 east longitude. This 82.5 longitude, it is also applicable to which of the following countries? Okay. So one we have Sri Lanka, 2 Nepal, third one Bhutan, fourth one Maldives. Okay. Let's see. See, we know 68 degrees 7 minutes east and 97 degree 25 minutes east is the easternmost and the westernmost borders of the India. So the longitudes. So exactly in between these two, 82.5 is chosen as the Indian Standard Time line, because it lies almost exactly half of the between these two longitudes. We know from 68.7 to 97.25 east longitudes, there is a 30 longitudes difference. So in between this 82.5, almost it is at the center of these two longitudinal difference. Okay. So again we know that Sri Lanka is lying before the 82.5 east longitude. That's why Sri Lanka also uses our Indian Standard Time for their time reference. Okay. So here option we have Sri Lanka, Nepal, again fourth one Maldives, Bhutan. So only Sri Lanka is the correct one. So option B, one only. Clear? Next question. Our Indian Standard Time is maintained by, option A says CSIR and NPL, Council for the Scientific and Industrial Research and National Physics Laboratory. B says ICAR and IMD, Indian Council for Agriculture Research and Indian Meteorological Department. Option C says ASI and NPL, Archaeological Survey of India and the National Physics Laboratory. And option D, none of the above. So this is our 82.5 east longitude. This is called as the Indian Standard Time. Okay. So this will decide the time for the India, so which is 5 hours 30 minutes ahead of the prime meridian or the Greenwich line, Greenwich meridian. If the London region is having the 12 noon, if the time is 12 noon near the London region, in India will be having the 5:30 p.m. That means India is 5 hours 30 minutes ahead of the prime meridian. So this Indian Standard Time, it is maintained by the Council for the Scientific and Industrial Research along with the National Physics Laboratory. These are maintaining our Indian Standard Time. Before the Indian Standard Time, again we were using the most of the local times like the Madras timings, even the Bombay timings, even most of the chai plantations in the Assam region, they were using the chai bagan time. Okay. So after the Indian government in the 1950 region, okay, in the year 1950, Government of India officially announced the 82.5 east longitude as the Indian Standard Time. So option here is the CSIR NPL, Council for the Scientific and Industrial Research along with the National Physics Laboratory. They are maintaining our Indian Standard Time, the atomic clock. Next question. The capitals of which of the following states are located above the Tropic of Cancer? Okay. Option 1 Tripura, 2 Rajasthan, 3 Mizoram, 4 Jharkhand and 5th one Chhattisgarh. We know that Tropic of Cancer, it passes through India from 8 states. Okay. First one is the Gujarat, second one Rajasthan, third one Madhya Pradesh, fourth one Chhattisgarh, fifth one Jharkhand, sixth one West Bengal and Tripura and the Mizoram. Out of these 8 states, hardly 3 states' capital lie above the Tropic of Cancer. The Rajasthan capital Jaipur lies above this one. Next, capital of the Tripura, Agartala lies above this. Again, Mizoram capital Aizawl. Okay, so only 3 capitals lie above the Tropic of Cancer. So, Tripura capital Agartala, Rajasthan capital Jaipur, and the Mizoram capital Aizawl. Jharkhand capital Ranchi lies below this one. Chhattisgarh capital Raipur also below this Tropic of Cancer line. So options here we have 1, 3 and 4, B 2, 3 and 5, C 1, 2 and 3, and D 1, 3 and 5. We know that Tripura, Rajasthan and Mizoram, so hardly 3 capitals lie above this one. That means option C is the correct one. So with this 25 questions, we will end up this episode. So we have thoroughly discovered the 25 questions. For more updates, please watch Uttara Academy. And this is Tharun signing out. Thank you.